麦わらの人を指示をくれ。
はは
カーディ Kaizoku を登録してくれ。
Car Kaizoku.
This video is brought to you by Nengarden. To celebrate their 1-year anniversary, they're thanking fans with a huge sale. Plus, you can use code CARDKaizoku at checkout for an extra 5% off your order. This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom One Piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code CARDKaizoku for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. See Western OP11 list and Eastern OP12 list on gumgum.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, we're going to be taking a look at week 1 of OP12 data. This is post-ban data. If my assumptions about how the ranked system has switched to using like the unlimited format for their current implementation of the post-ban OP12 Western format. Yeah, we're still waiting for Batsu to officially switch the West over to OP12 in the lobby itself, and then on the 30th, implement the ban system. So I'm expecting 2 updates within the sim itself. But yeah, the rank system guys have gotten around that by just queuing in unlimited. I don't know how they're enforcing the rules, but they must have some way to do it. So I'm just going to trust that their queues are working the way they're supposed to work. And this is the top 10. I believe they activated it on August 21st. So this is about 4 days worth of data here of post-ban OP12 data. So this is with Blue Purple Luffy with the forbidden pairings, right? He cannot play 8-cost Katakuri, he cannot play 9-cost Linlin that heals. Nami is banned. I don't think that matters because we didn't really see Nami much before anyway. But Sakazuki is back, so we'll see how Sakazuki is doing. I do kind of think Sakazuki is going to take some time to like reacclimate for people to like get used, because it's a reactionary deck, right? It's not like a deck that everyone else kind of has to play around. Sakazuki is a deck that plays around every other deck, so it's going to have to learn a new meta. He's been gone for quite a while now. He has to learn how to counter every other deck at the moment. So I do expect to not see him do too hot, but could see it climb as the weeks go by. So it's on my website, cardkaizoku.com. Yeah, just right off the bat, you have it on screen here. I didn't really look at it because I kind of look towards the corner of my room as I'm talking to myself. I know it's a weird habit, but up first, Green Zoro. I'm not surprised. It's going to be the most played leader. The way I'm weighting the weighted win rate does take into account the play rate, and Zoro being the most played leader here with a 11.95% play rate, it makes sense that he's up here. Even in my ban list, tier list speculation video, I did say at the very beginning, we're going to see like the tried and trusted, the things that people are used to from the East show up in the top, namely like Zoro, Rayleigh, Green Purple Luffy, stuff like that. It's going to take time for people to like feel the repercussions of the meta as people are not taking big risks up at the very beginning of the meta, right? People are just going to play what they think they know is good. So of course Zoro going to show up here. Bonney up at second. Bonney was one of my also top meta contenders, so it's great to see her here. Rayleigh up next, as we mentioned. It's a deck that won the Japan finals. It's a deck that everyone perceives to be really good. Whether that is still the case in this current meta is left to be seen, but we do see Rayleigh at third. Green Purple Luffy at fourth. Blue Purple Luffy still at fifth. I guess we're going to see what package they're using instead of the Katakuri and Linlin in this deck. And yeah, people are just used to playing the deck. I think removing those 2 cards doesn't change his playstyles, right? His curves, his timings, they're all the same. You just get the 8 Dawn. You still use your God Threads. You use your Mr. 2s and stuff like that. The only thing different is what you cheat out with your Sanji. So yeah, it completely makes sense that people didn't really have to relearn the deck. Up next is Shanks at 6. I do think Shanks did get a big boost from the ban list. If Blue Purple Luffy is weaker, Shanks was that was one of his weakest matchups, so it's great to see Shanks up here again. I think he was like kind of edging along top 10, and now he's just like getting ever so closer to top 5. Up next is Enel. Enel just is the deck that counters Zoro and Rayleigh. You can ignore the deltas too. The deltas aren't going to be relevant just because this is going to be like the first time I'm looking at this data. But yeah, up next after that is Kid, followed by Blue Kuzan. Blue Kuzan going up, he was like kind of teetering around 10, so it's solidifying himself to be a really solid deck in OP12. And then Teach going back at 10th, being the gatekeeper for a bunch of leaders here. And then let's look through the top 20. So at 11th is Kalgara, followed by Koala, followed by Nami, followed by Sanji, Red Green Smoker, that a lot of you were like complaining that I left out of my tier list. But Red Green Smoker, I don't think it gets really good until PRB02 with the Kobe and then the Law, right? At the moment, it just feels like a glass cannon Bonney deck, which I don't think is too great in the current meta, but like what, PRB02 is coming out in like a month or 2 months. So at that time, I will consider Smoker to be a lot stronger and I'll appropriately rate it. But at the moment, I don't think it's like too great, to be honest. It's an off-meta deck. I guess I could have put it in the off-meta category with the other off-meta decks, but you'll have to excuse me if I forgot that this insignificant deck did not make my radar. So I shouldn't be that mean about it. It's just, of all the things to be concerned about, Red Green Smoker was nowhere near the priority of stuff that I felt imperative to include on the list, much to the chagrin of all the Red Green Smoker fans. Up next is Purple Black Luffy at 16th, followed by Purple Luffy at 17th. So Purple Luffy is still hanging on. Lucci at 18th. I would have liked to see him higher. I think people are probably getting reacclimated to removal, or I don't know, maybe people have kind of abandoned removal, but I do think it's just play rate, right? He only has 1,800 games here, a 1.35% share of the play rate. Much like Sakazuki, I think people just kind of have to remember how to play Lucci, and we'll take a look at the stats on why I think he should be higher than he actually is. I think it's just going to take time. It's only been 4 days, you know. People aren't going to rush back into this post-ban meta and use their full brain power in playing a deck like Lucci, right? They want the simple stuff. And then Buggy at 19th, and then rounding off the top 20, Sakazuki shows up. So here is Blue-Black Sakazuki in his like first couple of days of performance. Not too shabby, right? A 41% weighted win rate. Will go up as people figure out the package that he has access to now that it's OP12, right? It's been like 5 sets since he was banned, so I expect Lucci and Sakazuki to go up. It's not just cope for my speculation video. But yeah, while we're at it, let's just take a look at some of these top decks and see how they're adjusting themselves for this post-ban format, if they even need to make any changes. I doubt Zoro has made any changes, but we'll take a look at him. Let's look at Bonney, Rayleigh. Take a look at Blue Purple itself. Let's see how Shanks is countering this non-Blue Purple heavy meta. Who else? Well, I'm just curious about Lucci and Sakazuki in general, so let's take a look at those two as well. And that's like what, 7? We'll take a look at those 7. If you feel like we need to see more, we'll just look at that later. Well, Enel too. Let's look at Enel. Okay, so first off, Green Zoro for the past like 4 days of post-ban list OP12 data has 16,000 games played, the most popularly played leader, going first win rate of 56, going second of 53, giving him an average of 55, weighted to 53.91. So positive whether you're going first or second. Has a bunch of great matchups, right? Now good into Blue Purple Luffy without that extra added defense, right? He has a 63% win rate against them. Used to be the other way around. And yeah, it's easier to kill a Blue Purple Luffy now with your restand event, right? It's always a threat since they're a 3-life leader. So one of the most major consequences of the ban list, I would say before it was kind of a 50-50 matchup, maybe even slightly favored into Blue Purple Luffy, but now it's definitely Green Zoro favored. But yeah, it still loses to Kid, Enel, Rayleigh, and Bonney. It seems to do really well into Sakazuki, so I guess just being a 4-life, 3-life, if you don't have 5-life, it's really hard to play against Zoro, it looks like. As you can see, all of his weak matchups are all 5-life leaders here. And yeah, this is the sore point for Lucci. I think if Lucci can figure out the Green Zoro matchup, his placement will shoot like way up. But let's see if the deck lists have changed at all. So I break down the decks in my like featured deck list into 4 different categories: top overall, most piloted, most played, and hidden gem. I would say the description of each category explains itself, but yeah, hidden gem is just without taking into account how many people have played the deck, how good it is with respect to how many games it's played. But we'll take a look at the top overall, which does factor into how many people have played the deck. The more people have played it, the more confident I am in the stats, right? So the Zoro list here runs for Neko. I wonder why people run Neko instead of the X-Drake, right? I don't think it matters too much in the end, but at least X-Drake has utility in being able to rest a 5-drop. It's a slash attribute, it's a 2k, so like why Neko Mamushi? Do you ever play this vanilla out, right? So I don't know. But yeah, they're all in on the OP12 Zoro that's immune to slash, just because, as you can see, if the Zoro mirror, it makes up a good majority of the matchups you're going to face. Having a character that's immune to your opponent's leader is going to be great at pressuring your opponent. Everything else looks pretty much the same. They've cut out the Paradise Waterfall completely for the Mihawk, at least in this initial first couple of days. And then all in on Kuina. Some people run this as like a 2 or even like no Kuinas at all. I think Kuina is too good not to run, in my opinion. And yeah, no Hody. Hody is more of a tech card. Just because you have Dead Man's Game and ways to search it, you don't really need it, right? Hody's not searchable in this deck. So yeah, that's Zoro. Not too much different. Okay, up next is Green Bonney, a 58% win rate going second. That's really, really high, but still positive going first, giving her an average win rate of 55.96. That was higher than the Zoro, right? It's just that she has half the play rate of Zoro, so that's why it kind of weighed it down slightly. It's like 0.3 less than Zoro, 0.3, like less than a whole percent. So that it is just due to the play rate there. So let's take a look at our matchups here. So good into Rayleigh, good into Enel, good into Kuzan, good into Red Green Smoker. Like everything beats Red Green Smoker. You'll notice when you see all the matchups. Good into Zoro and good into Green Purple now. Blue Purple, I gotta really think of a different nickname for Blue Purple Luffy. Snake Man Luffy, I should always say that. Because whenever it has to do with colors, maybe I'm like color dyslexic or something. It's hard for me to say his name. But yeah, loses to Shanks, has a losing matchup into Sakazuki if you manage to give Sakazuki second, right? If you're going first, you do horribly into him. Same with the Lucci. So it seems removal going first is Bonney's weak point there. Which is why I think these two decks should actually be higher, or it will become higher as people play the deck more. Also loses to Teach, but other way around when Bonney's going second. But yeah, not too many weak matchups, right? The weak matchups are not popular decks at all besides Shanks. Yeah, just the removal, and then I guess Teach is a removal deck, but denial deck, if you happen to face them, you'll have trouble against it, but against everything else, positive green win rates here. So let's take a look at some Bonney deck lists. The best overall deck list is running. I'm pretty sure this is the exact same list we saw in previous week's video, right? Nothing looks too different, or nothing that stands out to me, right? It's still 4 Mihawks, 3 Shanks, 3 Doflamingos, 1 Kid, 4 Hoodie, no Law and Bepples at all. So yeah, Bonney not too different, but Bonney has historically been just a good answer to the meta. Okay, Rayleigh has a going second win rate of 57.3, first of 50.59, giving away raw win rate of 54. So you do want to go second, but going first is not too bad either. But going second, just playing this Luffy on curve is like how you win your games, it looks like. So what is he weak to? He's weak to Enel, weak to Lucci, which is why I think Lucci should be higher. Weak to Kid, weak to Bonney, 50-50 into like Nami, Kuzan, and Shanks, depending on your turn order. Same with Kagura too. Beats Sakazuki. That's kind of interesting. I would assume that Sakazuki would have the same benefits as Lucci, but it looks like just being a 4-life leader is that like downside of not being able to survive. And then yeah, good into decks like Green Purple Luffy, good into Zoro, good into the Blue Purple Luffy now by a big margin, Snake Man Luffy, and completely dominates the Red Green Smoker like every other deck does in the meta. Let's take a look at the Rayleigh deck list. I doubt it's any different than last week. Nope, all the same. Runs the 1 of Straw Hat Searcher. I think this is like a net deck tech that I think some was it. Yeah, it was like the Japan winner ran 1 of this event, so I guess everyone's running it now too. You know, monkey see, monkey do. Okay, Blue Purple Luffy for the week. Interesting stats. So has it going second win rate of 52, but going first win rate of 56. So you do want to go first. Now, what's he good against still? Still good against Shanks, still good against Kuzan, still good against Kid and Teach. Apparently really good into Sakazuki here. 81% into him. Good into Lucci. This wasn't as strictly high as this. I remember it was like around the 60% range. I'm gonna have to assume that Lucci's have started to run less like high cost removal in anticipation of Blue Purple Luffy not being as like prevalent in the meta. Because of that, yeah, he kind of like nerfed himself against this matchup for the sake of being able to counter the other matchups. I mentioned that might be a thing if Snake Man Luffy leaves the meta, but it seems people are still holding on to this guy, right? So has a 3.07% play rate here. So what is he weak to? He's weak to a lot of decks now, like super weak into Rayleigh now, super weak into Zoro now, weak into Kagura. Just a bunch of aggressive decks, right? His bar of aggression that can kill him has lowered a bit. It's not just Bella Betty that can do it now. Now even Kagura can do it. Nami can do it. Green Purple Luffy has historically do it, but now like a lot more easier. I guess I'll give credit to Red Green Smoker. That's the one good thing that Smoker has, and then also loses to Bonney. But let's see what people are running instead of Katakuri and Big Mom now. Okay, so it looks like they just swap out the Big Mom for Mihawk and then the Katakuris for the Luffy, right, in the 8 and 9 drop slot. I could see lists start to very deviate from traditional lists. It's just that it's only been a couple of days. People are just going to play what they're used to and then just make the most minimal amount of changes, right? We could see more tech in the future, or like even different options for the big drops here, but I like these two as options. Mihawk can bottom deck a 7 drop, and then the Luffy can bounce a 4 drop back to hand and also has rush, so it's a bit aggressive too. But you do have the nega card in hand, which is kind of like antithetical to your leader ability, drawing you an extra card, but you get so much value out of this guy that I feel like it's worth it. But yeah, interesting. Well, not too interesting, it's just they just swapped the two top ends here. I'm wondering if like the OP12 Sanji ever makes sense for this deck, if there's a way to use it. Where's he at? Oh, OP11, right. Snake Man Luffy was an OP11 leader, right? This one here that like bounces a 5k to hand, And then when he dies, he replaces himself. I don't know. This would make it too mid-range, right? But yeah, that's Snake Man Luffy for this couple of days. Then looking at Shanks, let's see how Shanks is doing in this current meta. So going second win rate of 54, going first to 48. So it really does matter if you go second or not. It still loses pretty handily to Snake Man Luffy, unfortunately. Loses to Teach as well, loses to Zoro. Kind of has like polarizing matchups into everything else, right? Whether you're going first or second affects how well you do. But on average, beats a lot of popular decks, right? Beats Green Purple, goes 50-50 with Kid, beats Rayleigh, beats Smoker, beats Lucci, beats Enel, and beats Bonney, and beats Sakazuki. So yeah, I think Shanks is poised to be a top 5 contender at the moment, right? I was shaky on the inclusion of Lucci and Sakazuki in my tier list, but Shanks I'm pretty confident on. And let's see what people are running on Shanks. If it's the removal package, it looks like it kind of is, right? So you're running Otama and Building Snake for power reduction, Hongo too. You're combining it with Marco, with Beckman, with Rayleigh to pop stuff. Even this 06 Shanks can pop something really big. Only relies on one of the Rush Shanks. So it looks like more of a control build is the way to go here. But yeah, kind of interesting ratio of only 3 Uta searchers. I wonder how they calculated that. But yeah, this blocker Shanks is new from OP12. It's a godsend for the deck, especially against Green Zoro, right? That minus power persists. So that is Shanks for this week. Okay, let's take a look at Lucci. So going first of 47, going second of 49. So it still needs some help here. He needs to figure out what's his package going forward to handle the meta the best. Or at least that's my cope with him. Maybe there is no package, but I'm going to have to hope there is, and somebody else has to figure it out. But yeah, what is he good into? Good into Kid, good into Rayleigh, good into Green Purple, good into Sakazuki, good into Bonney, good into Kuzan. So this is why I think he has a good shot in the meta. He's just good into a lot of the decks that are top meta, right? Does falter to Shanks, does falter to Zoro, and Snake Man Luffy still. And of course, yeah, he completely loses to Teach here. And has a really, really weak matchup into Sanji, just because none of Sanji's Sanji characters can be removed from the field, so that kind of like cancels out what Lucci can do, right? Unlike some of the other characters that cannot be KO'd once per turn, like the Sanjis cannot be KO'd per how much Dawn you can return to keep them on board. So yeah, that's just kind of unfortunate. But Sanji is not like a top meta deck at all, so you just have to be really unlucky if you face that one of in your tournament run. But let's see what Lucci's are cooking up. Okay, it looks like they're still running the 10 Kuzan. I think that's where the mistake is, right? They ran this guy to counter Blue Purple Luffy, but I mean, I guess he was still kind of popular, but it looks like the matchup into Blue Purple Luffy got even worse with the inclusion, still including this package. I'm guessing that the Snake Man Luffy can always bounce these back to hand, so it kind of made it like even better into to Lucci, unfortunately. But yeah, I think this is just too slow, right? You got to handle Zoro's board before it gets overwhelming. You can't wait until your 10 Dawn turn and then pop everything with the Jack combo with this Kuzan, which is what like the Snake Man Luffy was slow enough for you to be able to do. Just my opinion though. What else? Now everything else is pretty much the same as always with Lucci. I kind of feel like the CP package might be more relevant now, right? Playing Kaku to control the mid game instead of just relying on Jack and Kuzan for a late game. I don't know, it could be wrong, but I miss running the CP package with like Spandine and Kaku. Right, Kaku was like an auto 4 of way back in the past. It would help you kill like your opponent's Cavendishes and Tashigi's a lot earlier too in the Green Zoro matchup. I don't know. You guys figure it out for me so I don't look dumb in my video. Thank you. Okay, looking at Sakazuki, not doing too hot. First win rate of 38.49, second of 43, overall of 41. What is he good against? Good into Bonney, good into Kid, good into Smoker, and then kind of loses everything else for now. For now, let's take a look at what people are cooking up. Okay, the best shot we've got is this 41% win rate deck that 300 people have played. Maybe that's the issue. You guys are like net decking one guy. And it's not working out, so I don't know. Come up with your own tech, right? 300 of you are playing the same deck list and are not putting in results. It's time to maybe deviate and try to figure something out your own. But we'll take a look at this. Let's take a look at the hidden gem too. 24 people are doing a little bit better. 47% win rate, closer to 50 here. Okay, so let's take a look at the sheeples list. It looks like this looks like the Lucci list, but they included like Helmblaze and then Murakumo. That's why you guys, Sakazuki has a whole different other color, and then Helmblaze is one of his strongest cards, but it's not running like the Tashigi and brand new stuff. I guess this Uta is interesting, but like, yeah, like why doesn't Lucci run Uta? If like Green Zoro is a problem, Uta helps with that. Sakazuki's running it for some reason, but not Lucci. And it's weird too, because Sakazuki has access to stage, right? What is it called? Navy HQ? Yeah, like he has access to this, which can't be even like removed via like character battling, but he's running Uta. You guys have to make it make sense. And then they're running Black Vortex to counter Green Zoro as well. Even Lucci's not doing that, so I don't know. People are like stuck in their ways. But yeah, this is basically just a Lucci list with like 6, 7, 8 cards different, which I don't think is the way to play this guy. I think you kind of have to leverage the blue part of him a lot more. Right, with blue you have access to like bounce effects. We turn up to, and then color of blue. Look at all these effects you have access to. Wait, you could run Kairos, bounce a 5 drop. You could Saw Blaze. And then you have access to cost reduction too, right? So that makes it even more potent for you. Who else is good? I mean, Jozu could be an option. And then where's the Snake Man Luffy? Yeah, this guy. Bounce a 4 drop with your cost reduction, combo it onto it. With your leader ability even, it makes it a 5 drop. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a matter of time, right? People are just, again, it's only a couple days. Just take whatever you know. A Lucci deck, make it slightly blue. And that's what people are doing. But take a look at the hidden gem list. Maybe that can show some more originality here. Oh no, it's the same thing. They just run one more Helm Blaze. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Whatever you're doing, it's not working. So, you know, get to testing, get to labbing, so I can report on it. Thanks. And then lastly, we'll take a look at Enel and Neru. So 56 going second, 43 going first. Overall win rate of 51, weighted to 49. So what's he good into? Good into Rayleigh, good into Zoro. Right, these are really good positive matchups to have. Good into Kid too. Good into Sakazuki, good into Smoker, loses to Green Purple, loses to Shanks, Bonney, Kuzan, and then Teach, of course, is like your natural mechanical counter because you can't use your leader ability. And then unfortunately still loses to Blue Purple. But has Enel changed anything? I wish they like brought Raigo back. Maybe it was too strong, but okay, this Enel list has not changed from the last week, so I guess not much to talk about here. Imagine if he had Raigo though, or even what's that card? Reject. Dang, they banned so many Enel cards. He was just too good. But yeah, that's the meta snapshot at a glance for now. I purposefully did not show the prices in my deck list today because I'm going to do a price video tomorrow. Sorry, I have to kind of game the system this way to have relevant videos, you know. And it keeps things on topic, right? If you wanted a price video, this wouldn't be the video you would have clicked to watch to find that out. So if you're curious about that information, it's going to be coming up sometime this week. But yeah, what do you guys think? I think I'm hopeful for Sakazuki and Lucci to keep going up. I did mention it's going to take some time for that. My speculation tier list was more like end of OP12 is what I think it would look like. Of course, beginning of OP12, this is exactly what I was alluding to as well. I think I mentioned in the video, we're going to see Zoro, we're going to see Rayleigh, we're going to see Green Purple, we're going to see all the decks that we expected, right? I don't think anybody were expecting otherwise, right? Zoro's not going to drop, Rayleigh's not going to drop in popularity. So that video was more of like future looking, right? But people are just going to extrapolate what they want for their own narrative. So nothing I can do about that, but hopefully if you guys listen to the nuance and can critically think, you can appreciate that kind of analysis. But yeah, would be curious to see how this is going to change next week. I do think, yeah, things are going to shift. Things are actively currently still shifting. I think there's some treasure cups coming up too. So that's going to also cause ripples, right? A lot of people just take whatever topped at events and then net deck it. So that's going to influence what decks show up in these stats here, unfortunately. Yeah, that's going to be it for this week. Let me know what you guys thought of my analysis. Any feedback would be appreciated. Also, if you want access to these stats, it's on my website, kaizoku.com. I have it linked in the description. As always, editor, put that part also in the front of the video. I guess that's it. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Kaizoku.